heart rate up, got the tempo going, and definitely probably got you burning some calories. But reset, recalibrate as we go back in. Coastline now. Moving on to greener pastures potentially for Team Liquid, Tim. They need to try and keep their cool and not get frustrated off the back of what they just had happen to them there and come in strong on their defense in Coastline. Second map in the series now, finally, as they'll be facing off against FaZe Clan for another time tonight, and they need to win this to stay in the tournament.
That's it now, literally, for Team Liquid. Their backs are against the wall, and we have the bans coming in here for Coastline. Hibana and Lion will be the first two taken off. FaZe will go for Wamai as well, so that will leave us one defender left to come from Team Liquid. I would make a shout towards either a Valkyrie or a Mirror, but who knows? There's always potentially some on the cards, especially on Coastline. We've had some odd bans throughout the regular season. Just it's been one of those areas we've not played it an awful lot, and teams seem to have taken the opportunity to throw us a curveball here and there, but that one will be straight down the line. Valkyrie, as suggested, and that is going to be your ban. So we will have Mirror in play here, and we know that she can have a big impact on a few of these sites.
All right. Well, here we go then. Second map. Reset. Ready to rumble once again, as they're going to be winding themselves back up. Now, here's the interesting part to look at, right? Obviously, in terms of the ban, we can see that Lion was taken out, but the counterpart is still in play, and that is going to be Finker that will be coming out to try and be a gigantic nuisance maker on the day. Yuna, it's the map, Tim, where he did it. The 1 versus 4 clutch, the incredible showstopper with the depth-defying nade that he rolled out and destroyed a man from miles away. He then went on to clutch it with that LMG during the regular season. Are we going to see that style of play coming out from here again today? It's the dream scenario for him. Everything's aligned in terms of them being on their attack, coming out hot with a 1-map advantage, and being on Coastline. If he starts to offer something spectacular, then this could be a miracle opener for FaZe.
Right now, you wouldn't put it past them, because as much as Team Liquid have got a lot of experience at this, you know, at every level of Siege, in terms of the length of time they've been playing, in terms of the tournaments they've won, the matches that they've played, that is going to be a bitter pill to swallow on Clubhouse. They fought it all the way back. The one thing that they can keep telling themselves is, it wasn't our map. Ultimately, it wasn't our choice. All we need to do is come out and win our choice and then take it on Oregon. And I think they'll feel reasonably confident going into Oregon, because we have seen Team Liquid be very good so far on Oregon. But they have to get through Coastline yet. And FaZe Clan, they have got to have a buzz about the team coming out of that result on Clubhouse, because it came down to the wire. And as we all know, when you get into those final round deciders, the adrenaline is pumping and the excitement levels go through the roof. And if that buzz continues here, and this is why I think FaZe need to keep a bit of a pace about them here. They don't want to let things settle down. They don't want to let Team Liquid get comfortable in this one again. And so far, we're just under a minute in and no contact as of yet. And really, I'd like to see FaZe maybe getting in with a quick early challenge here.
Do something fast, do something aggressive, and really bring out that show-stopping potential that we know they keep up their sleeves and save up for a rainy day. And we'll see if that will happen. Bit by bit right now, they're slowly advancing further forward, utilizing that Finker as well with a stim that will come out, giving everyone that slight overheal so they can take an extra stray bullet on contact, but they don't want to get involved in any firefights they're not favorable in. Instead, they peek slightly after. We get the contact there as Ion will land a shot and take down one man. There is a trade back though, and he's trying to make the best of a bad situation, seeing if he can get more for his buck on the alibi and completely throw them all out of sorts into the round, Tim. But it's only been the 1-for-1. Leaving us into a 4 versus 4. Utility-wise, they're looking good on Liquid, though, and they're going to put all of that utility to good use. They'll also wield these firearms with such grandeur as we see the peak. Nesk, he's going to leave all of the fans absolutely enamored with the quality of play he's been bringing out today. Is again he massacres another man. It's all on Mav in a 1 versus 4. You might have time, but you don't really have much of a chance.
You might have been the hero of Clubhouse, but it's going to take something special here. And it's not to put it past FaZe. We've seen Yuna do it before, 1 versus 4. But it is going to be a huge ask here. He does manage to collect the diffuser, but with only about 10 HP to his name at the absolute most. It's probably less than that. He is less than 1 bullet away. He is a strong breath of wind from dying. And the gust will come through the billiards room and sweep him out of the round. Sexy Cake it is who will pick up the man, and that is going to be round 1 going to Team Liquid on the defense. And generally speaking, we do see the attackers have the better time of things here on Coastline, at least in LATAM. And so the more rounds Liquid get on the board now, you've got to make a strong argument for them running away with this one. And I know we're only 1 round in, but if they can get themselves another, say, 2 successful defenses, that really should probably be all they need.
Oh yeah, when you look at it based off historics, right? That's when you do start to think, Liquid, we know what you like. We know how good you play on this map. When you've got momentum, you can counter FaZe, and you do feel like maybe there is a possibility. The only bit that did make me think maybe it's not going to be as cleanly cut is because obviously they got pummeled into that last round with the mishaps and misplays. You didn't know if it was going to plague them, but they've shown so much mental fortitude throughout the entire season. And I think, again, we're seeing that mental fortitude is still in play going into Coastline. However, we do have a poll. Obviously, we can see it seems like a large amount of the Liquid fandom is believing in them being able to reset, keep that mentality clean, take it on the chin, and come back through with another solid map here and just stop thinking about what went down on Clubhouse Tim. Players are best of 1 going forward.
It's the only thing that you can do for Team Liquid here. They have to just write that one off. It's unfortunate. As I say, they've got that line that they can potentially use for themselves, which is, it wasn't our map. It's not the end of the world. You know, basically FaZe have kept their map. We just need to come and keep ours, and then we can take it to Oregon. I'm pretty sure that they're still going to be reasonably confident about things here. But looking back towards the matters at hand, we are in round number 2. We're going to be defending down in the kitchen and service area, but we can see Sexy Cake. He's looking for that early peak. He's up there on the top floor, and he's going to be just trying to provide some resistance, prevent the Sledge of Live getting in there above them on the site and just really starting to open things up and make things uncomfortable. That is one of your primary checklist items here for an attack onto kitchen, is to get those vertical angles up. And there's 2 things. You're looking to get kills with vertical angles. You're looking to get kills at every turn of the corner in Siege. So any opportunity you can get, you'll take. But really, what's more important with those vertical angles is you're preventing the defenders from playing in locations that they choose. You're going to force them to move around in sight. So ideally, vertical pressure is generally coupled with some horizontal pressure as well, looking into sight. So when players are forced to move around because the ceiling opens up above them, then they get shut down by the player who's on the horizontal angle.
A little bit of a back and forth trade so far in terms of the early damage that's been done. Ooh, all right, that's more than just damage, Tim. That is going to be some death. The harbingers of death for FaZe Clan coming out as they are not using their guns anymore. They've decided to instead go in swinging a scythe. They lop the head off of the Jaeger. Goyo will follow suit as both of them are now down in the dumps. And they keep on rolling the pain train, but it's a little bit of momentum back in favour of Team Liquid. Palu finding the headshot onto Ion. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust as Ash is taken out of the round, keeping it at least somewhat in close nick in a 3 versus 4. Team Liquid, they have the benefit of at least being on the defense, so you can try and play the trade game and wait close towards the site. They also have a bigger benefit, Tim, in the fact that PSK, no one has forced him to use any of those smoke canisters. He's still got all 3 of the toxic cans waiting on the utility belt with his fingers itching to rip them off and do some damage with that poison.
Palu absolutely decimating the man up on the top floor there. Ion had a great start to things. He's opened us up in round 1 and 2 with entry kills. And if a player like Ion gets himself a difficult day because he's an absolute clutch master, and even if left in man disadvantage situations, he will still find a way, and he's certainly finding a way to get kills. But how about that for a nade coming in from Yuna? We've seen it before, Jackie, and we are seeing it again on the Finker. Just absolute three-pointers from all the way downtown. He can do it over and over and over.
Oh man, the basketball king and the Lord of Bludgeoning. However, that title will be given to all members of FaZe as they are living their movie coming back into this round. You might have got the opener liquid, but you're not going to get yourself a big buffer. Palu's the last to fall. The momentum is going to fall with it as it slips back into a 1-to-1 split. Something that was absolutely monumental, though, of course, was the power play that came out from Palu that we're going to have another look at here on the replay because it was so damn good, Tim.
Oh, it's an absolute beauty. It's one of the cleanest, crispest kills that you will ever see. Just watch him come down here, and it's just the flick that he gets as we see him. It's up here, there. Look at that. It's absolute beauty. It's just almost effortless. It's just casual. And then we see a perfect view of exactly why Yuna brings the Thinker. I'm sure that there are plenty of people asking, why are they bringing a Thinker? Why are they picking the Thinker? No, it's not an operator that we see a lot of, but it is a comfort pick for Yuna, and believe me, is he comfortable on this operator. Earlier in the so 1 versus 4 here on Coastline with the Thinker, and it was a beautiful, the best nade I've ever seen. For my money, it's the best nade I have ever seen in Siege. He hit it from luggage all the way across the donut hole in the middle that is the courtyard, straight in through the VIP door, and just cleaned Moringa out. He literally removed him from the game at that point, and it was a beautiful play, and we're seeing him come out and do it once again. It's a great example of exactly why he brings the Thinker. And I know there are other operators that can bring the nades, but he's great on the gun, and he just fits into that operator very, very well.
Oh, it's also the added benefit it adds as well, right? Because when you are a team like FaZe, if you want to go for a split execute onto a site and effectively just all push in with a split push, you can use that ability to benefit yourself massively, right? You time it well, it gives you that extra little bit of sustainability to push in. Maybe a nade that otherwise would have taken you down now just drops you low, but you hit the little flick shot, you get the opening frag. It's the minute differences that it can make. It just makes your lives a little bit easier.
Easier this time it will not make them. The nade goes in but will not connect with anybody. 5 versus 5. We find ourselves defending Sunrise and Blue Bar this time around for Team Liquid. So their defense is likely to be focused around that pool entrance, but Live will focus in onto Sexy Cake and shut him down with the SMG. And that now finds us in a 5 versus 4 here, but leveled out by Palu. Can he get himself another? He's starting to find his feet, and that could be a dangerous thing for FaZe. Look at the aggression coming out for him. Absolutely no fear in pushing this challenge. He's going to drop the hatch there and live to fight another day, but it looks like he's running straight back up those stairs for another go from a different angle.
1 minute 35, Tim. We're into a 4 versus 4 with the way they're playing it right now. It's looking like this round is going to be a scrap. I'm talking about fists being thrown. It is going to be like a hurricane of fists beating down on you. With the quality of Siege we have coming out here, they are out for blood. Nesk seems like he's going back for more as he works his way up the stairway, looking for a backstab potentially as he's roaming around in a bit of a death squad with a backup of Palu here. This is the dynamic duo you would not want to see if you walk down a dark alley. They'll come out and really do a number on you. Oh, and they find the flick. We see the shot coming across as Live will take bullets to the back of the legs. He'll fall over. It's going to rip through his jeans, Tim, and rip him to pieces. Now you've only got 2 players alive and kicking on FaZe. At least they can actually mount the res and get Mav back in action, but there's the trade. That's the suffer that you have to pay as Palu gets the counter pick back onto Yuna, and all of a sudden it's just left on one man. Ash, beautiful headshot. Lovely little adjustment there onto Palu. Just 1 bullet to drop him, but he's still got to find 3 more of those or go for the pickup on the diffuser and then get down to the site in 20 seconds. He cannot stop moving. He's got to bop his way through relatively quickly, spamming his way through the door in case anyone is lurking behind it. Will charge in, flashes in, clears the close angle, paranoid about where the peaks are going to come from, and more anxious about what's going to happen when he takes a bullet to the face.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you bring a Nomad on the attack onto Coastline, because if you do not, those stairs will be used against you, and it's so easy to close them off. You bring the Nomad, you bring the Gridlock, either or will do, and you shut down those roams. You do not allow players like Nesk and Palu to come up there as a deadly duo like that and to start ripping you apart. This is going to be a short-lived map if they continue to do that. We will see whether we get any sort of adaptation towards that. I can see Mav bringing the Jackal, so there's a little bit of a nod in that direction to say that the footprints can at least be managed and the tracks put in place, but still it doesn't prevent, there's no preemptive element to that gadget of Jackal. He is always reacting to what is in front of him. He's always acting on information that is already there, and for somebody rotating up the stairs, their footprints aren't at the top of them yet, are they? And that is potentially going to be the problem. But heading towards Hooker and Billiards once again. We find ourselves 2-1. Team Liquid with a small advantage to begin with, but I would say have certainly looked the better of the two teams so far.
God damn, Tim. A series that's been so pumped full of twists and turns, and it still feels like the storyline has a much bigger story to tell. We're only into chapter 2. It feels like there's at least the chapters to get through.
Oh, there's definitely reading to be done here, Jackie. This is, you know, I mean, we're on holiday. Why not sit down and read a book? We've got some comfortable settees there. We've got the questionably placed settee that we've talked about already up in the VIP. There's plenty of areas to read a book here on Coastline.
Oh, mate, there's, you can lounge outside on the sound lounger, getting yourself...
By the empty pool.
Yeah, getting the heat and not cooling down. Because if you jump in, it's just going to hurt your ankles.
But there is a stunning vista as well if you look just over the rocks. And I think it's probably one of the things we don't always take enough time to do. In games like Siege, you come into a round, there's 3 minutes to go, and you're very focused on what you're doing. But have a look around, and there's some real beauty being put into these maps by the artists, so it's definitely worth a shout to them. But right now, there's beauty in that kill. Sexy Kate gets a double. Ion and Yuna flick right, flick left. Simple as that. 1-2, kiss, kiss, bang, bang. And we find ourselves 5 versus 3 now early in the round. That's within the first minute, and that is a huge start for Team Liquid here. That is a huge leap towards putting them 3-1 in the advantage.
Oh, and look at this as well. It's like a horror movie. You can see him creeping up. You know he's there, but the swing will come around, and Palu was not prepared. Instead, he's going to be dropped down to the ground. Stunned out, as Live will prove that he is an effective mercenary when it comes into marauding your way into the Ibiza compound and living it large. Back now into the 4 versus 3, Tim. 1 minute and 25 seconds on the clock. Sexy Cake holding, wants to get himself onto the hat trick. Will drop clear towards the left, wasn't ready for it, and gets overpowered. Live really making a mockery out of them into the round, but they've still got to make a meal out of this one, as it's a 3 versus 3. But look at the sustainability. It does not favor FaZe. They're green around the kills. They've taken some heavy hits, and they are limping forward. Pre-fire coming out from Astro, but all it means is that Nesk will sprint in, get right up close and personal with him, give him a bit how's your father, and then peer through the small crack in the wall and do some damage as he cracks the ankle of Mav. Another frag and a beautiful play from the Jaeger.
3-1 we find ourselves then for Team Liquid, and they are doing fantastically well on the defense. And remember, coming into this, I did say Team Liquid are very good on the attack here on Coastline. So right now, things are not looking great for FaZe. Team Liquid guaranteeing themselves at least an even split on the half, and coming forward, that is going to make things very, very difficult because, as we've said, very solid on the attack. We're going to see similar lineups coming out this time around. Goyo will be brought along by Sexy Kate, but Mav is still favouring the Jackal there, and given that we are on kitchen and service this time, let's remember what happened last time around, that we were on a bottom floor site, and that was that Nesk and Palu were able to just rotate upstairs freely and just hit them hard on the flanks. And right now, FaZe are doing nothing to prevent that. We have no Nomad, we have no Gridlock, we have no options to really shut down those rotations, and it could well be something in this round that comes to bite them in the behind once again. We've already seen on this site that Liquid will play with roamers upstairs, but they're more than prepared to drop back down to the lower level when the time comes and they are pushed. But given the opportunity, they're going to work their way back up one of those 2 staircases and look for that backstab.
All right, well, Round 5. Getting back in it, coming fresh off the back of the prep phase. Let's hope that FaZe have prepared something punishing to go into this round with. They have to do something a little bit different here, Tim, as we're getting close towards the end of the half, and you need to have a good run on your attack. Try and bring this back to as close as physically possible. Give yourself a buff to work with, because I would not want to be going up against Liquid on the attack here on Coastline. With the quality of Siege we've seen coming out from them today, you are going to struggle to have an easy time of it. It will definitely be an uphill battle. But right now, it seems like this villa has been built on level ground. Level pegging between the 5 players that are alive and kicking on either side. And Astro, he wants to try and cut that down a little bit, but it's Palu that gets the opening kill. It's always the main man saying that you've got no alibi to lie, as he'll find the shot, take him down, acting like a Kraken, Tim, as he's been released, and he does not want to slow down. There has been a bit of a reply. Mav coming through with a spear, chucking it into the noggin of Moringa and dropping him down to the DECK, bringing it back into a 4 versus 4 here, but still so much left to play with.
This round is just like a highlight reel in itself. That kill from Mav onto Moringa was absolutely phenomenal, but then we saw the shots exchanged onto Mav himself, and we nearly just as big of a banger. And right now we can see that the top floor pressure is still mounting, but Liquid, they have not been moved anywhere. Palu still locked in up in the VIP lounge. He's just going to play in and around that circle couch, make himself difficult for as long as possible. He is backed up by Nesk here, who's playing in behind that Goyo shield and just looking to hold down that long angle. Right now, FaZe feel like they've stalled out a little bit. They don't really know which way is up or down at the minute, trying to get any peek that they can in through the drone hole there. They are aware of Nesk, but that silhouette is a long way away from visible. Let me tell you that. There is a number of layers in between him and the attacker there. So Nesk, he will hold himself down. If we remember that shot we saw from him yesterday, he can pick out a pixel at a ridiculous range, and they are really risking their lives playing into that angle.
Risky business, though, is normally what you have to do. You got to risk it all if you want to be the big winner when it comes to these gambling plays, Tim. And ooh, that was nearly the skills that pay the bills from Nesk, but instead it's Palu the one that's going to be able to pay off the debt as he swings wide, gets the frag onto Yuna, but he's detonated from the depths below. Legs go flying off in either direction, and it brings the game back into one direction. A 3 versus 3. On round 5, 20 seconds left to work with. Liquid, will you get a 4th? Or is this the 2nd that is on the cards for FaZe Clan? That's the big question that we're waiting to answer. And it seems like Sexy Cake is going to pipe up and be screaming that it's going to be the first, not the latter. PSK pushes in to deny as well on the defuse. Bites his way through the first man, but can't get the side swipe off onto the next. Instead, that'll be Sexy Cake coming out with a dastardly double. This man is bringing Sexy Siege back.
We'll get on to the diffuser, and you can see the excitement running through this Team Liquid team now. It's all fun and games when they find themselves 4-1 up with a successful disable onto that activated diffuser as well. The main door run out. I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, Jackie, but it is a run out that could be covered by an air jab. And with not having the Nomad on the board, once again, it just allowed them that easy option on the retake just to get out there and put that challenge on. Come into a kitchen service plant. It is potentially an area that you would look to air jab off along with those 2 staircases, and they really are suffering for it. We had some unbelievable plays. You're going to see them here. Production do a fantastic job of these. So look at that zoom in, and you just see that is just absolutely phenomenal from Mav there. Sees a couple of pixels of Moringa's forehead. But how about this? Yuna, he's heading to the DJ booth. He's got a request to make, Jackie. He's looking to get the Macarena played. But Palu says, no, sir, that's not in my record collection. This party is much cooler than that, and just absolutely deletes him off the rappel.
Oh, mate, he's walked up and he's asked if he can have Sweet Caroline. That's what he was doing when he was reaching out with an aid, launching it a substantial distance to blow him off his feet. Oh, Tim, a hell of a game so far. A hell of a series, mate, and a ridiculous day from top to bottom. And we're really only getting started. This is looking like Liquid are going to be licking their lips at the idea of pushing it through to a 3rd and final map. The decider, And of course, we know where that'll be. If they make it out of coastline here with a win, take the series 1-1, we're going to Oregon. That's the final resting place for one of these two teams. That will be where we have to say goodbye to either Liquid or FaZe Clan in the lower bracket final if Liquid can come back here and win this game and push it to Oregon. What a crazy result it would be if we go all the way towards the third and final map. It'd be a hell of a series, Tim.
I think that's exactly where we are heading right now, and Liquid are looking to head there with some serious momentum. Now, what excites me, Jackie, is that once again we are seeing the same pattern as we saw yesterday, and that is map 1 going the distance. We didn't see it go into overtime yesterday, we did today, but we saw at least all 12 rounds on that map 1, and then we saw the team who lost map 1 come back and fight big and hard in the second map and get themselves a quick victory. I think it was 7-3 both times, and we're heading towards that sort of a scoreline here for Team Liquid. But the really exciting bit, and this is the major kicker, Jackie, is that when we got onto that third map, it went the distance again, and we had it right down to the wire. And I'm honestly hoping to see it between these two, because they are just battling with each other at the minute. This is a war. This is an absolute brawl.
The war for attrition, survivability and sustainability. Oh, and it seems like a mainstay. The Finker play, Yuna with the LMG, really going to be popping off. Slaying with the bullets there, Tim, as we see Sexy Cake taken out of commission immediately. That cake has been shattered, dropped on the ground, smooshed everywhere. It won't have an opportunity to feed the hungry, and I tell you what, FaZe Clan are looking like they are grumbling and very hungry to take a bite out of Team Liquid into this round. The peek on the stairway, Big Papa Pump, he gets an opportunity to slate the day. He'll peek out on the stairs, be introduced to Ion, and that is not the sort of family meeting that you want to be a part of, Tim. You will be riddled with bullets for a very long time, and he might actually get another chance to say hello to a second man. Issue is, he's overpowered. Goes down. We see the Finker as well coming in clutch to get Live back off his feet and keep them rolling into the round here. 2 versus 2. It comes down to this. Palu is low. Live is low. But Live, he has a trick up his sleeve. The beneficial factor of being able to grab the diffuser. He didn't see the head, Tim. I thought he would have seen that on the peak, but he doesn't clock on. He doesn't realize it was Nesk live on location. Can't find the adjustment. The frag comes through onto the Finker. That's a mishap.
Backwards and forwards in that round, we saw the advantage flip and flop back from side to side, and ultimately Liquid come away shaken but certainly not stirred in the blue bar defense there, and they managed to get round 6 on the board. 5-1 on the defense, and they only need to find 2 attacking rounds here. We've seen them previously have a lot of success in kitchen service and a lot of success in blue bar and sunrise, so I am sure that there are going to be rounds for them to find here on the attack. They will to get what they need and to take map number 2 and push us all the way to 3 exhilarating maps here in this lower bracket final. And just as a reminder for anybody who's joined us or anybody who's forgotten, if your memory's not what it was, then the loser goes home. This is it for one of these teams inside of the LATAM Major. They are fighting here not only for a place in the grand final against NIP tomorrow on Championship Sunday, which Jackie and I will bring for you, don't you worry, but they are also fighting for their lives inside of the LATAM Major.
So much that is on the line, so much that they've worked every day and every night for over the past 5 weeks, grinding on every one of those 15 play days to get themselves into a position to even make it to the Major. And now, after everything we saw back on the ridiculous Friday that's got us into this point where we are sat here tantalized and stunned by the quality of stage that's been coming to the brim, it was so close on the first map, literally decided by a play off the back of sticking the diffuser and a slightly mistimed flash grenade on the turn that came out for Palu. That was the only difference that meant that FaZe Clan could pick up the win. Going into this matchup now, though, Tim, it seems like FaZe Clan, they've been knocked for 6. They're stunned. They're struggling to get back up. They're kicking and they're screaming, but they're not really being able to find their frags to keep the rounds close. And Liquid, they built themselves a gigantic buffer. There is a bit of a boon, at least for FaZe Clan, into this round. They find an opening pick, and that's a start. it makes it much more manageable, especially when the response as well is even better. They find a follow-up frag. Astro coming out as he'll pick off Moringa, but there's finally the trade in favor as they drop down Ion. You're going to see the res coming back through to get Nesk back up on his feet. So 3 versus 4 here effectively into round 7.
FaZe at the minute, Jackie, just don't look like they've been to that orientation meeting at the beginning of the holiday here. They don't know what's happening with the tour buses. They don't know when the trips are leaving, but what they do know is that Power is making 2 of them leave the game, and we find ourselves leveled up at 3 versus 3, but Ion down leaves us in effectively a 1 versus 3 here for Live. He has got a huge task ahead of him. He's looking to move down the cool vibe stairs. He needs to break these down into 1 versus 1s as much as he can, and the barbed wire certainly isn't going to help that one way or another, whether he chooses to clear it or whether he chooses to move through it. There is going to be a sizable sound cue that will just signal his presence there, and it's going to be tough for him.
Live. The Lone Ranger, the sole survivor in a 1 versus 3. Will this man be a silent assassin? Has he got the silver ballers to do the damage? Can he silence the competition, Tim, in the last 60 seconds? Well, they want to end his reign of terror, and the bullets start to do a bit of damage, whittling their way through him. His only trump card is the fact he has these canisters to work with. He can dash them out and hopefully deny any pushes. Look at the sustainability on Liquid as well. They're low. He can actually clutch this, Tim. There's potential for it. Gets the second one pre-placed so he doesn't have to waste time getting it out. But he overextends around. Diffuser wasn't down. It felt like he could have just waited for them to push in, but instead he jumps the gun, peeks off the back of the bomb straight into the crosshair of the man that's waiting for him. Palu cut through him on the sledge, and they will send him off to sleep. And this is where it really does get quite scary. As Liquid, they're 1 round away from winning it on Coastline and taking us to the 3rd and final map. We will be going to Oregon. Book your tickets to the US of A if Liquid can get themselves a 7th round here, Tim.
It was always difficult for the smoke there. As I said, he got himself stuck on the cool vibe stairs, and I felt like he was just going to try and aggress down and see if he could catch somebody on that lower floor, but the barbed wire just seemed to hold him back a little bit. Even as a defender, you move through it, it makes the sound, it gives you away, so it forced him back towards site, and ultimately he found a 3-man pinch coming in from the double window and 2 in Aquarium, but the time was his big enemy there. He had 40 seconds left, Jackie. It's just too much time for one man to absorb. There is too much pressure there in a 1 versus 3. Really, the successful 1 versus 3 sort of situations that we see tend to be done with inside 10-15 seconds. It's flash in a pan stuff. You just go in and you get a couple of big opening frags and then you manage to hit the last, and that's more often than not how we see it. The time from first kill to last is generally very small, and it doesn't go over such a protracted length of time, should I say, and that was the big difficulty for Live there. He had to make a move. He knew that he couldn't absorb 40 seconds of pressure, and so it just took one of the options away from him. Usually in that situation as a defender, you can think, can I use the clock as the second man here? Can I try and, there's 7 seconds left, can I try and force them to put a diffuser down or do something? But he just didn't have that choice.
I certainly feel like he could have at least tried to play it a little bit slower, Tim. The fact he was in a situation like that where he's on the smoke and he's got all 3 of those cans ready and waiting, you could have wasted so much time in the sense of not necessarily needing to peek until at least that diffuser was down. You know, in a situation like that where you're retaking onto a site where they haven't even got the diffuser down yet, it's a little bit frivolous, it's a little bit careless, but obviously it wouldn't have mattered much in the grand scheme of the game. You've got to look at it for what it is. You know, he made his moves. He thought maybe he'd be able to hit his shots, put it down into a 1 versus 2, then play off it. He also didn't have the information we have in the sense of knowing that they were so low off the damage that was done from the smoke can. It's all ifs and buts, it's all hindsight, and now we come back into the present here at the 2-minute mark as we wait and see if this is going to be the Liquid side being able to overwhelm and wash over FaZe Clan for one final time here on Coastline and then take us through to the 3rd map, the bookend of the series. But I wouldn't close the chapter on this one just yet. Actually, you know what? Yeah, close the book. It's done because they have just read them like a book. We've seen Palu coming out with the SMG, sending everyone off to slumber, looking like Freddy Krueger with the way that he's starting to serve up excellence here into the round. It's a 3v2. He's already got 13 frags, but he's debating whether or not he wants to chuck out that nade to try and secure himself a 14th. Man on the stairway, firing out shots, has to back off from cool vibes, but his blood will be going all over the neon as it is a triple kill. Palu's name will be up in and Nesk will be the final one to turn the lights off for FaZe, as he will shatter their hopes and dreams of 2-0ing the series. It goes 1-1, and we go to Oregon.
Team Liquid turn into a raging torrent there on coastline, absolutely running over FaZe, and that is more what we have come to expect from Team Liquid so far in this major. They don't tend to be pushed quite as close as they were on Clubhouse, but let's not forget they are in the lower bracket. There is still work to be done here for them. They are still beatable, but heading into Oregon, sort of struggle to think